chess is a really happening sport today. Have you guys noticed this?
We have like 3 of the top 10 players in the men's ranking are like Indian. Like there's Bragg, there is Gukesh and Arjun.
Yeah, but in fact, even in the women's section, we have 3 to 4 top players in the top 10, like Harika, Koneru Hampi, Divya Deshmukh, who's now made the finals of the World Chess Championship.
How far do we need to go back to understand, how men and machines started competing in chess?
Yeah, so we've entered the digital world.
Kasparov versus Deep Blue, IBM Deep Blue,
Yeah.
right?
In fact, not many people remember that the first iteration actually Kasparov won in '96, and so then it wasn't really a big deal. But in '97, when the rematch happened and Kasparov lost 2-1, then it really became very clear that okay, the era of humans is over. The machines are going to take over.
So Kedar, you've sort of explained a lot of benefits of AI to chess. But is there any fear of how AI is encroaching into chess and how machines are becoming more and more a part of training?
Right. Yeah. So.
Welcome back to another episode of Gameplay Sports. I am Rahul Day and with me is Arvind Bharti. And today we have a special guest, Kedar Kulkarni. Kedar is economics faculty at Azim Premji University. He specializes in econometrics and machine learning. But today we've invited him because his expertise will really help with the episode. Kedar is a serious online chess player with a rating of above 2000 and the cricket coach of APU's cricket team. Welcome guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I want to just start today by saying that, chess is a really happening sport today. Have you guys noticed this?
Yeah, I have not played chess, but I've been looking at it recently, and the one name which keeps popping up is Vishy Anand. But now we have like 3 of the top 10 players in the men's ranking are like Indian. Like there's Bragg, there is Gukesh and Arjun.
Yeah, but in fact, even in the women's section, we have 3 to 4 top players in the top 10, like Harika, Koneru Hampi, Divya Deshmukh, who's now made the finals of the World Chess Championship, and then we have Vaishali, who is the sister of Pragnananda.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not only just really good chess players. Chess content is really big. And I've been noticing that from 2020, the number of people watching chess has been just going up at an exponential pace.
What do you mean by chess content?
It's really just like any other esports, right?
I'm watching somebody play chess.
These are really good chess players, very top chess players. So some of the really famous content creators are like Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura, who is world number 2. Then you have Gotham Chess, who has about 7 or 8 million subscribers.
Oh wow!
So they just play chess. Sometimes it's very instructional, sometimes it's for fun, and it's really picked up at least from the times of pandemic.
And just to give you context, okay, like Chess-Base India, which is a Indian run by Sagar Shah, who's an Indian podcaster, has 27 lakh subscribers. Cricket podcasts like Wisden Cricket or Prairie Fire have like about 1 lakh subscribers.
Oh wow, that's like, so is it like the most watched sport?
It could very well be. I mean, we should be looking at this closer. But what really stands out to me is that, the average chess player or grandmaster is getting younger and younger.
Yeah, that's one more thing I saw. Like Gukesh was 12 years old when he became a grandmaster. I mean, how do you do that? In fact, I recently saw another article about a 4-year-old child who has a FIDE rating of some 1,500.
1,500, which is really decent actually, very good. I mean, I wouldn't be 1,500 in FIDE rating.
So I wanted to ask that we all know that machines and AI has played a strong role in chess. Do you think this was what explains why so much younger and younger people are becoming grandmasters?
No, to an extent, but that's really not the case. One has to go back into the history to better understand all these things.
So in today's episode, we are going to try and understand how AI was influenced by chess, and over time how AI beat human chess players, and also what that tells us about the future of AI in sports. So Kedar, I want to ask you, how far do we need to go back to understand, how men and machines started competing in chess?
Yeah, so we've entered the digital world.
Kasparov versus Deep Blue, IBM Deep Blue, right?
It was Deep Blue, which was built by the IBM scientists, and Kasparov. In fact, not many people remember that the first iteration actually Kasparov won in '96. And so then it wasn't really a big deal. But in '97, when the rematch happened and Kasparov lost 2-1, then it really became very clear that, okay, the era of humans is over. The machines are going to take over. And what we are seeing today in terms of our workplace switches, in terms of AI coming in, I think the world of chess saw that in '97. So maybe I would say they were 25, 30 years much ahead of the entire.
No, I mean, I remember one quote by Kasparov recently he had a 25-year-old after that match interview with chess.com, and Kasparov says that at that point he was shattered.
Yeah.
And he thought it was a curse. But today he realized it was a blessing.
Right.
What would you say is going on when he says some quote like this? Humans can't beat machines anymore. That should be pretty much the end of the sport.
That is what back then the perception also was, that how will the sport really progress now, because you have a machine that is going to defeat you all the times. And the way these machines work is that it's purely, back then it was brute force. So some of the early machine engines, which was like Ripka, Stockfish early versions and so on, they purely worked on brute force. That is,
what do you mean by brute force?
Suppose there's a move to be played. I can only calculate, let's say, 10 possible combinations. The machine is able to do 200 million.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Whoa, okay.
That's
so the processing computing power of the machine allows it to do calculations that are far faster.
Much faster and
much broader.
And more importantly, accurately. Right? You can always calculate combinations, but you need to know which is the best, right? And so they were able to combine both of these, the superpower of the calculators as well as the accuracy of it. And so it was very clear that you cannot really defeat the machine.
So Kedar, we were talking about how human beings can calculate about 10 to 15 moves ahead, but machines can beat them at that. Can you just give me an example of how do AI or machines think during chess?
Yeah, so it's very simple. So for example, let's pull out position. So here's the position.
Okay, so it looks like a very end state game with a lot of pawns and just one king on each side.
Right. Now, if a human were to play this, there are certain rules in the end game that humans are trained to play, and they'll use that sort of a training to win the game. On the other hand, if you were to give this position to a machine, what they would do is they would use what we call as the brute force method. That is, each move is being analyzed against every other best move from the opponent, and then you come back and see which is the best possible move among all the possible combinations, and then you play that. So that's how the machines would play. Now in this case, obviously, as a human, and because I know a little bit about chess, I know that the only way to win this is to push my pawns to the 8th rank and then promote it to a queen. And so I would look at what's the best possible way to do this. And I know I have to basically use my h pawn to move it up the ranks and get it to the queen. So and obviously there's only one move that wins, which is f takes g, then h takes g, and then h moves up. You don't take, h moves up the rank. Right now, this is how I would do it as a human. A machine would actually analyze each possible move. So we can look at the engine moves, and the engine will tell you all the possible sequences. And for each sequence, it will tell you this is the best possible move. So that's the brute force.
So the brute force element here is that it keeps trying different methods, and it can very fast calculate which is the best chance of winning.
Right.
But AI has developed from brute force techniques. Now we have language learning models. Has it impacted AI in chess as well?
Yeah. So the early engines, where, for example, Ripka, Stockfish, they were not that strong. They were probably little bit stronger in terms of calculations, but in terms of their understanding of the game, they were not there. And in fact, if we had talked about the IBM, it was actually a computer that had a lot of heuristics associated with it. That is, humans were actually giving some of the moves.
Okay.
So it
was almost training the computer.
Yeah, humans had given the opening moves, and that's how it had played. And then obviously brute force calculations were used to determine the positional advantages and so on. Now you have AI models coming in. So deep neural network is a good algorithm that has really pumped up. AlphaZero is the best example I can give you, where the machine, it's learned the entire game in 4-5 hours.
By itself?
By itself.
Just by taking in information?
The rules and the information and so on. And now I think it's regarded as the best engine there is.
So is it like the equivalent, like, we know like something like ChatGPT or Claude, they learn by taking in more and more human written text.
Right.
The chess engine here would learn by getting more data on chess matches being played?
Yeah, so you can feed a lot of information to these engines, many different positional moves, and it will learn from itself, and it will tell you what. And in fact, what has happened is humans have started to learn from these models, because oftentimes as humans we are trained to not do certain things. There are rules that you should not break. For instance, you should not trade a really good piece with a lesser piece, right? But you have started to see with these AI models that these things are possible, and I think it has really just enabled grandmasters to become much better at chess than they were.
Okay, so as I'm understanding that one of the ways machines has got better is it has much more computing power, processing power, it can think more. But more and more, you have an adaptive version of AI which can play differently. It doesn't have to play just one way.
Right. In fact, I would just say if there's a person who is really starting to get to know chess, who is interested in chess, but doesn't know where that person stands in terms of the rating and all, I would say go on any of the websites. There are chess bots. Start playing the chess bots. The moment you...
So a chess bot is essentially a chess which is mimicking as playing like a human being.
Right. So for example, the Magnus bot, right? So you have the Play Magnus, where you can play Magnus Carlsen at different ages. Right?
Okay, so Magnus at 8, how he used to play, at 10, how he used to play.
And I think many of amateur chess players who are really decent would be able to defeat Magnus at 11 or 12. And then after that, there's no possibility of you defeating Magnus after that age.
So Kedar, I wanted to ask, AI has been changing chess. How do grandmasters or the best chess players use AI or adapt to AI?
Right. So I mean, the entire game has really changed because of the influx of AI, and I would say more importantly, computers. What you have is that earlier, many grandmasters used to come into the game with some sort of preparation, saying that these are my top 10 moves, or these are my moves in order. I know this person plays like this. So it's called preparatory work. You are in the prep, and then most of the games, first 10-15 moves are played, and then the human really takes over, where you are just in a completely new game.
So you can't use AI insights anymore because it's got so complicated.
Yeah. But now because of AI, you are able to actually think of 20 to 30 moves ahead in your preparation itself, and all the possible combinations and all.
And what are the consequences of this?
And it's also helped chess grandmasters actually figure out novelties in the game. Earlier they wouldn't really think of that particular move, but now they are like, yeah, it's a possibility, even though it might break certain rules of the standard rules of the how to play chess and so on. So that's how it has changed, and obviously it has also had.
So I want to ask, you had told me the story about how the best player in chess, Magnus Carlsen himself, has changed his game.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good thought. So Magnus Carlsen is regarded as the best endgame player ever, and I think one of the strong points of Magnus is that he understood that a lot of players are coming with the good preparatory work. So first, you cannot defeat them in the first 20-25 moves. But what you could do is, if you get better at endgame, that is, if you really master...
And endgame is when you're checking, or you're trying to make
when the pieces are less, you are really left with a lot of more possibilities than there would be. And endgames are essentially where you cannot really predict what's going to happen, right? Because it's just too far way ahead into the game, and no human would ever come with such a preparation. And so he has really mastered that technique, and most of the... best games that Magnus Carlsen has played are endgame masterpieces.
And I remember you were telling me that formats of chess has also been changing with the coming in of AI.
Right. Yeah. So Robert Fischer, Bobby Fischer, who was in 1972 when he won the championship. He really grew a little bit disillusioned with the way the chess was going, because he realized that there were so many draws happening. People were just equalizing each other. And it was because they all came prepared with these moves that, okay, first 15-20 moves, I'll do this. In fact, I remember Anand has a nice interview somewhere with ChessBase India, where he says, he was in a tournament where even before he had started the game, most of the games would finish in draws because it was just predetermined that I'm playing this, and after 7-8 moves they just shake hands and they go on a stroll. So Bobby Fischer came up with a very unique idea. He said that, how about we start the chess game by randomizing the position of pieces.
Oh, so your king, queen, knight could be in all completely different places.
So there are basically, you still need to adapt to the rules of the game. You can't have any piece anywhere.
But your preparation is
but you can have 960 variations of that position. Right? It's called Chess 960 or Fischer Random Chess.
Okay.
So that's one way chess has really changed. And it's a really interesting game because you don't know what your position would be. You only know when you
first see the board, and you have to figure out what.
And you need to figure out. So you could theoretically you could lose in 3-4 moves.
Okay.
Even if you're at the grandmaster level, right? That's one way it has moved. The other way, I think there are parallels drawn with, for example, cricket. How the game has become much more shorter and faster. Chess also, I think, in fact, I would say chess first became like that. You have the classical format where each player gets about 90 minutes and some increment time. But now you have games that are like 5 minutes.
So what are these formats called?
Yeah, so 5 minutes is basically blitz. Then
Like
you have
each player has 5 minutes.
Yeah, each player has only 5 minutes and some increment, 2-3 seconds. Rapid is like 20 to 25 minutes. And then you have the shortest format, which is bullet, which is like 1 minute each.
1 minute each?
Yeah.
That's faster.
And then you have hyper bullet, which is like 30 seconds.
Wow.
So,
Okay. And so my sense is that, this will make it more viewer friendly because now I can watch a match in like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. In fact, you could watch a match in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Right? It's really...
it's changed both how we play but how we watch chess.
Yeah.
So Kedar, you've sort of explained a lot of benefits of AI to chess. But is there any fear of how AI is encroaching into chess and how machines are becoming more and more a part of training?
Yeah, I mean, one way to think about this is that the classical format is becoming less and less popular because what you have is the first, as I said, first 20-25 moves are basically memorized. They are engine moves that are being played in the form of the human playing it. And after that, the human element really takes over. So you have so many draws. In fact, if you look at the statistics, the number of draws in World Chess Championships have increased over the last few years.
So it's leading to more conservative playing
style.
More
conservative, I would say equalized positions, which otherwise wouldn't have been because you're basically depending on your own skill and creativity and understanding of the game. But now it's mostly the computers doing the first 15-20 moves. That's one thing. The more important thing for us to worry about is the element of cheating that has really come up in sports, especially in chess, where now you wouldn't know whether it's the human playing the move or the engine. There are some ways to detect it, but for example, if you and I were playing online, I could easily use a engine to make the moves and you wouldn't know. So it's much more prominent also in the professional circles. There are players who have been banned for cheating and so on. And I think, so obviously with any technology that comes into a new platform, there are pros and cons. I don't know how sports is going to deal with the cons of this, but it looks like there are more pros than cons.
No, I mean, let me put it this way, like what doping is to sports could be what AI is to chess.
Yeah, very likely, yeah.
So those were some really nice insights from Kedar. And, it was really great having you and talk in so much detail in chess.
Sure, thanks, yeah.
So now let's head back to the studio with Arvind and Kailash and talk about how AI will be impacting other sports. So we learned from Kedar about how AI has influenced chess and how chess has adapted to AI. Now we are bringing back Kailash, and I wanted to open this discussion back that, chess is one of the first sports to be impacted by AI. What about other sports? Like, where is the future of sports and how is AI going to influence it?
First of all, Rahul, I didn't know anything about chess in the past few minutes. Whatever has happened, I've learned a lot because coming from media, I had only 2 experiences with chess. One was Harry Potter, the live chess. The other was Queen's Gambit, which Netflix came along. But the amount of computers and in general machine learning and data which has gone into chess, I don't think any other sport has so much data of players and computers coming together.
Yeah, like data analytics is a big thing in sports, but not in the level at which you see chess. So basically you have a lot of data about how players are moving. Like in a team sport, you will get a sense of, because now, for example, in football, you have GPS devices on every player. So you'll have data on how much they've run, which direction are they running, what speed they're running. You'll have all of that data. So you actually use that data to figure out how well can you perform and what can you do better. So that's the level that we've kind of used computers at this point, data at this point.
And we have seen effects, right? If you look at the NBA, how it changed to a 3-point game, that was because of data analytics. So we have seen that, but this is...
The whole Moneyball aspect.
Yeah, the whole Moneyball aspect.
Hiring people based on data.
No, I know in IPL, for example, that, suddenly some players have become important who weren't in the past just because analytics show that a left-arm slow spinner might work against this batsman or this kind of a bowler works, and how players are valued.
Right. But it's still in the background. In chess, I think AI is right up front and, machines are up front.
Yeah, you're figuring out your future strategy based on data that you already have. It's not been real time as far as I know in sports at this point.
So I got an idea, okay? So let's say you have a bowling machine. and there's a video of Brett Lee or like a fast bowler coming, and then the bowling machine simulates the speed and angle, and as a batsman you kind of are facing the closest simulation, or like a tennis player, you're facing simulation. I mean, maybe there's a future of like entertainment and games.
I mean, if we have reached a point where you can wear Google glasses or whatever, and you know, AI data gives you
Like
in
a
real
VR.
time. Yeah, like a augmented reality where Federer or someone is about to serve, and they'll serve, and you will know wind direction, whereas everything is going to come. I mean, that might be the future.
Yeah, we have it in a very simple format right now, where if you're going to take part in marathons, there is a treadmill actually which is running at the speed at which the world record holder runs. And you have to somehow stay up on that treadmill for long enough. And usually people fall off after 2 minutes. It's quite, you can find that online. That's the most simplistic version of what you're talking about.
Right.
So viewers, we had a fascinating discussion on how AI has impacted chess, how chess has responded, and how AI might impact sports in the future. And we feel like AI is a good thing because it makes it more inclusive, it makes the competition more equitable, and it highlights the human element in sports. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's a future of machines and AI in sports? Comment below, and we will return very soon with another interesting episode of Gameplay Sports. See you all soon. So if you guys were wondering where Kailash was all this while, he was researching about chess and learning more and binge watching more episodes of The Queen's Gambit.
Okay, let's do this.
You're listening to
आप सुन रहे हैं
You're listening?
നിങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുന്നത്
ന്യൂ കേൾತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ
ರೇಡಿಯೋ
റേഡിയോ അസീം റേഞ്ചി
ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ